Krishna, who bestows bliss upon the land of Braja. God itself, that is actually comes from. And so we prepare our heart in such a way that it becomes a seeking place for Krishna and Krishna's perfect devotion in the form of Paramatma. And that whatever we think, whatever we do, whatever we say, will always imbue with love of Godhead. And that is our heart, like the land of brother. And Krishna is the one who bestows bliss upon the heart. So that everything that we do is always to be Krishna conscious. So today we're going to read from the Krishna Caritamrta unto the final chapter, which is verse 12. The very important verse is this, very beloved. Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is the one who inaugurated this program of Harinam Dikshit. Prior to Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the system was these people did Baba Dikshit, which means that they were told at the time of their initiation who they were in the spiritual world. And then they would have to practice so that they could live the life of that personality. Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur observed that people were not able to meet that standard. It's a very, very high standard. So he used as a system Harinam Dikshit. Particularly this verse, he was very, very much promoting. So this verse gives us the present flame. We call it the present flame of the whole meaning of Krishna. Krishna means to glorify. So at the time, love means to glorify. Krishna is Krishna. So when we do Krishna, we're not just glorifying the Lord, we're showing love to the Lord. It is a program of expression to love to the Lord. Everything we do should be devotional service, and particularly pure devotional service. So this is a verse from allow us to understand this, because we will be Kirtan. So we actually bathe deeply in Prabhupada and in the Prabhupada from our Vishnu. The program that is very beloved to the program to be developed now, and that is why when we're doing that, we come to this program every year. So happy to see how Radharani and Caitanya give so much love by all to the Lord, and then how their love comes from the rest of the world. So once you know this verse, if you don't, you can turn to the phone and turn to Krishna Caritamrta and to do it, chapter 20, verse 12, and we'll go line by line in here, so you can see what to do. Caitanya Bhavamahadavadi Nirvapana Ketudarpanamajana Bhavamahadavadi Nirvapana Priyati Vivatatvika Vitarnam Vidyavadujivanam Priyati Vivatatvika Vitarnam Vidyavadujivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Patipadam Purnamrita Swadanam Ananda Buddhivardhanam Patipadam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatmasnapanam param vijayati Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Sarvatmasnapanam param vijayati Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Sudarpanamajanam Bhavamahadavagninirvapanam Shekirvachandrika Vitaram Vidyavadutijanam Anandam Buddhivadanam Pratipadanam Sarvatmasnapanam param vijayati Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Now listen to the whole. Shri Sudarpanamajanam Bhavamahadavagninirvapanam Shekirvachandrika Vitaram Vidyavadutijanam Anandamuddivadanam Pratipadam Purnamita Swanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Chetudarpanamajanam Bhavamahadavagninirvapanam Shekirvachandrika Vitaram Vidyavadutijanam Anandam Buddhivadanam Pratipadam Purnamita Sadhanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So by this method, we chanted every verse from any part of the Veda, in all of the Vedas. It's actually originally included many billions of verses. The Srimad Bhagavatam itself, which today we read 18,000 verses, was originally written 1 million verses, or 1 billion verses. And it was reduced to 18,000 verses. You can imagine how big the Srimad Bhagavatam is. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is the auto-commentary on the Vedas. So you know how big the Vedas are, so the Bhagavatam was just the conclusion. It's the final statement to boiling down of the milk until it becomes what is called rubbery. Rubbery means the most essential part of the milk, the most tasty part of the milk, crystallized material. So there's 3 particular words started with the word Caitaha, of the heart, Darpana, the mirror, Marjana, cleansing, Bhava, of material existence, Mahadavagini, the blazing forest fire, Nirvapanam, extinguishing, Shreyaha, of good fortune, Kairava, the white lotus, Chandrika, the moonshine, Vitaranam, spreading, Vidya, of all education, Vadhu, wife, Jivanam, the life, Ananda, of bliss, Ambudhi, the ocean, Vardhana, increasing, Pradipadam, at every step, Purna Amrita, of the full nectar, Asvadanam, giving a taste, Sarva, for everyone, Atmasnapanam, bathing of the self, Param, transcendental, Vijayate, let there be victory, Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, for the congregational chanting holy name of Krishna. Let there be all victory for the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna, which can cleanse the mirror of the heart and stop the misery of the blazing fire of material existence. That chanting is the waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune for all humanity. It is the life and soul of all education. The chanting of the holy name of Krishna expands the blissful ocean of transcendental life. It gives a cooling effect to everyone and enables one to taste full nectar at every step. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that this is the first verse of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sikshashtaka. The other 7 verses are found in text 16, 21, 29, 32, 36, 39, and 47. Om Jnana Nirantasya Jnana Nirantasya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and by the sweetest graces of my spiritual master, my darkened eyes were opened with the salve of love in the form of transcendental knowledge. I offer my special obeisances, homage, and respects to him. Vancha Kalpataruhischa Kripa Sindhudevcha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhya Namo Namaha. Let us offer our respectful obeisances on all Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. For just like desire trees can fulfill the desires of everyone, for they're full of compassion for all fallen conditioned souls. Hare Krishna. So, Lord Chaitanya wrote 7 verses while he was on the planet. 8 verses, and this and 7 other verses. And these 8 verses actually contain the full philosophy of Krishna consciousness. And is described by the Acharyas that actually Krishna consciousness is love parading as a philosophy. So in terms of the philosophy, these 8 verses contain everything there is to know in Krishna consciousness from the point of view of the philosophy. Philosophy means how to apply knowledge in a way that it will give us the best and ultimate result is actually Krishna Prema. Because Krishna Prema is what makes the whole world happen. It is what actually, everything that is happening is because of Krishna Prema. And that Krishna Prema emanates from the flute sound that Krishna is playing on his lips. The flute that is playing. Therefore, that is called Venu Gita. So we have the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna also speaks in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Uddhava Gita. In the Uddhava Gita, he explains that actually for perfection in life, we should always preach at 3 different levels. The first being mode of goodness, so that people can rise to the mode of goodness, which is sattva guna. So this is where the mind is seated. The mind is seated in the mode of goodness. So we want to purify the mind. And then we come to self-realization, Atma-jnana. So in self-realization, we prepare the seat of our heart so that Krishna will come and sit. And then we speak about Krishna himself. So that's called Krishna consciousness. Then Krishna is seated in the heart, and now we're imbued with pure love of God. And now whatever we speak, whatever we say, is done for only one purpose, and that is to actually purify, to actually to please Krishna's senses, to gratify Krishna's senses. So Krishna describes that, Mame Vancha Jiva Loka, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, that every one of us is part and parcel of Krishna. Just like in our body, say I take this little finger, it is part of me. Its purpose is not to satisfy itself. Its purpose is to satisfy me. If it becomes separated from me, then neither it can satisfy itself, nor it can satisfy me. So similarly, in material consciousness, what has happened is that we become separated from Krishna. Material life means that life which is separated from Krishna. In that life, there is neither happiness for the living entity, nor there is happiness for Krishna. And then, somehow or the other, we stumble across this message that we are all children of Krishna. Krishna says, I'm the seed-giving father of all humanity. And we come to find out that he is our greatest benefactor. That he is the one who loves us the most. Somehow we come to get this message. Somehow we come to get the message that Jivera Surupapare Nitya Krishna. That every living entity is actually a servant of Krishna. Somehow we stumble across a devotee. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the 12th chapter, Prabhupada says, in writing, that it is okay for you to think that you are God. It's okay for you to think that you are God. Come until you meet a devotee. Because when you come to meet a devotee of God, you understand you're not God, you are actually servant of God. And that there is more pleasure in being servant of God than being God. This is why you see on this painting, Krishna and Balaram are tending the cows in the palace, in the forest of Vrindavan, and you see that Balaram is actually God himself. Originally there was only Krishna. Ahame Vasave Bhagi. There was only Krishna. Then from his right, he manifests, which is this side, so from his right, he manifests Balaram, and from his left, he manifests Radharani. All three are actually fully the original personality of God. But both of the other two want to serve Krishna. Why? Because there is more pleasure in serving Krishna than being Krishna. This is why Krishna himself comes as Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Because he wants to taste this pleasure. He wants to know, how is it that Balaram and Radharani are enjoying more than I am enjoying? And he wants to taste Lord Balaram's love for him and pleasure for him. And that's why Lord Balaram comes as Nityananda. And he doesn't have any other purpose. His purpose was just party, have a good time. No rules, no regulations, just have a good time. So he comes as a Avaduta. Lord Balaram is not an Avaduta. Lord Balaram is very strict. You can see on the altar we have Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, right? Lord Balaram makes sure that you serve Jagannath very nicely. And if you don't, he can get very angry with you. He can get very angry with you. He can get off the altar, stomp his feet and say, why are you not offering prasad at the right time to Jagannath? Actually happened on the altar. So this is Balaram, who's very strict. I remember in Mayapur, there were some children playing in front of the deities of Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra, and one of they were playing with a ball, and the ball and then hit Jagannath on his face. Balaram came off the altar and slapped the boy on his face. The little boy on his face. That's Balaram. Very strict. That's why you notice Jagannath doesn't have ears. You notice? He doesn't have ears. Why? He had ears, he has to listen to Balaram. He doesn't want to listen to Balaram. He wants to do what he wants to do. He wants to play with his bodies. That's why he comes without full hand, full feet. He comes in an incomplete form. Why? To tell us, I'm incomplete, you're incomplete, let's party. Let's have a good time. There is nobody better than Jagannath. Jagannath is the only Krishna that goes to all the three leelas of Krishna. No other Krishna goes to all three leelas. Only Jagannath. All three leelas. Very, very merciful. He'll work with you no matter if you're the biggest crook on the planet or you're the biggest saint on the planet. He loves everyone completely. He is the Suridham Sarva Bhutana. Sarva Bhutana means everything, right? Whether they're saintly or they're rascal. From Krishna's point of view, from Jagannath's point of view, it's not different. He wants to be. That is why Prabhupada loved the Jagannath. And then Radharani also comes. Radharani also serves Krishna in a way that completely pleases him, and he comes to taste the love for him. And then he wants to distribute that love to us. How does he distribute that love? He distributes that love by importing from the spiritual world, Param Vijayati Shri Krishna. And this is the verse. So in a sense, this verse is everything in our life. It's the beginning and it's the end of everything. And it has in it 7 flames. Who is actually the preeminent guru in our sampradaya for us who are initiated by holy name, by the Prasad, who have Harinam Diksha. For us, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is the one who inaugurated. And this was his favorite prayer. He loved this verse. Because this verse is anything. He called it the 7 flames. Why he called it the 7 flames? Because remember when we chanted the verse, the translation, it said, let there be all victory for the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna, which can, and it says, flame number 1, cleanse the mirror of the heart. Cleanse the mirror of the heart. Why? Because our minds have become contaminated by material energy. Our hearts, as a result, have become covered by the dust of material desires. So if you want to see yourself as you are, you have to make sure that the mirror is clean. If the mirror is dirty, then you don't see yourself as you are. So by doing Sankirtan, by this process of Sankirtan, we get to see who we are in the spiritual world. Not just your face as you are now. As you are now is not your real face. That's the face that is the material face. That's not your real face. Your real face is who you are in the spiritual world and what you look like in the spiritual world. That you get to see when the mirror is cleansed. That's how powerful that is. That is why whenever we do Kirtan, we should do it with all of love in our heart, so that our heart will become cleansed. And the more our heart becomes cleansed, the mirror of the heart will show us who we are. And then it says that it will cleanse the mirror and the heart. So why the heart? So there is a competition in our lives between the mind and the heart. The mind loves everything that's very material. It wants this, it wants that, it wants money, it wants fame, it wants followers. These are the big 3 things that it wants. Dhanam, Janam, and Sundari. Right? And these 3 big 3 have a lot of younger ones below them. Oh, I love this, I love that. You know, so many things, right? These all are wants. The heart is still. The heart is still. It understands needs. It understands what we really need. And what do we really need? We really need the opportunity to serve Krishna. That is what we need. Devotional service. When Caritamrta was about to happen, the sages of this world, vast people of this world, got together for a meeting. It was called, the program was called Sages of Nirishana. So when the sages got together, they asked Sutta Goswami, who was heading the program, that please tell us, now that we know that Kali Yuga is coming, and in Kali Yuga, people who will inhabit Kali Yuga will be very unintelligent. They will be very unfortunate. So how can we give them something that they can also achieve the highest purpose of life, which is Krishna prayer? So they asked 6 questions. one verse will explain everything and people will know what to do. So Sutta Goswami speaks that verse in Canto 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 2, text number 6. Sabe Kumsam Parodhanu, Yathor Bhakti Adoshita, Ahayatuki Apatihata, Ye Atma Supasiddhi. That the most important occupation of humanity is that by which one engages in the devotional service of Adhoshita. Why the word Adhoshita is used is because Krishna cannot be understood by our senses. What do we mean by our senses? The senses means the five active senses that we have, right? The sense of touch, the sense of smell, the sense of taste, the sense of sight, and the sense of hearing. These five senses, with these five senses, and then the mind, which is the sixth sense, it's the subtle sense. With these six senses, one cannot understand who is Krishna. Krishna can only be understood if we engage in devotional service continuously and without any agenda, any personal agenda. Such a soul will achieve what? Supasiddhi. Ye Atma, Supasiddhi. Su means the best. Prasiddha means to become satisfied, to become completely satisfied. That is the purpose. The heart knows that. Why? Because the heart is where the Lord is sitting. Paramatma is sitting here. The Lord is sitting in the heart. Therefore the heart knows. So there's a competition between the heart and the mind. The heart wants to do one thing, the mind wants to do something else. And this is what causes confusion in our life. So what we have to do is start now training the mind to become aligned with the heart. When the mind becomes aligned with the heart, then, as Lord Chaitanya says, Muraman Vrindavan. Then your mind becomes like Vrindavan. When the mind becomes like Vrindavan, and now Krishna comes and sits, then the mind also comes to the heart and sits with the heart. It becomes unified. So this is the first flame out of 7 flames that you get by doing Sankirtan. In the second flame it's described that it stops the miseries of the blazing fire of material existence. Material existence will always be blazing with misery. We can see that, right? All around us there is misery. So many things are happening. Nobody is really happy. The richest person is not happy. The poorest person is not happy. The most intelligent person is not happy. By the way, intelligence is the more passion, and passion is the root of misery. So most intelligent means most miserable. Prabhupada actually said, I am not concerned about the future of ISKCON except for one thing, and that is over-intelligence. I'm a little afraid that all of you try to become over-intelligent, and then you'll spoil this. You'll spoil the Caitanya. He even said at one time, you know how much he was trying to set up ISKCON, and then the paperwork came to him, and they gave him the paperwork, and they said, Prabhupada, ISKCON is now registered as a non-profit society. We're accepted as a religious society. Now, we've become accepted by the government. Prabhupada looked at the paper and he said, that's not very important. He says, because we might get so involved with the organization that we'll forget our purpose. In that case, it's just tear up that paper and throw it away. We will just chant Hare Krishna. What a statement, right? When Prabhupada was asked, if you had to attribute anything to your success, why do you say that you were so successful? What is the reason you were successful? And Prabhupada said the answer was 2 things. Most importantly, he said, it was my faith in holiness. And we all know how this movement started, right? He was standing alone underneath a tree in Tompkins Square Park, New York, and chanting Hare Krishna all by himself. For the first few days, Sankirtana also. He was one of the first disciples to initiate it. These two first came, these two boys came first. Then they started dancing in front of him while he was chanting. And that's how the Hare Krishna movement started. Somebody has the answer? What? Huh? Could it be yes, no, 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 yes. So, so we can see this is how the movement started, right? And the essence is whenever things start. The Ganga starts from the Gangotri. In the Vedas it is described, whatever comes first will account for 50% or more of whatever the full results will be. So Prabhupada started with Sankirtan. Today, Sankirtan is blazing all over the world, right? Because it started with that. So, but there's something else that's blazing as well. And those are miseries, material life. So this is the one that stops it. Sankirtan stops that blazing fire. Otherwise, you can know in a forest fire how all the living entities are completely disturbed, right? They're losing their homes, they're being burnt up themselves. It's really very bad. Number 3, that chanting is the waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune for all living entities. Why is it the waxing moon? Waxing moon is that which is actually sustainable and scales, becomes bigger. So the moon stays and becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. That's called its waxing phase. Like that. So the chanting is the waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune. So the mind can be pacified now. All good fortune will be made available by doing Sankirtan. And then, number 4, it is the life and soul of all education. Life and soul of all education. So, what is the purpose of education? Children, you go to school? Why do you go? What's the purpose of education? To learn, very good. What else? To become knowledgeable, okay. Very good, yes. So actually, learn to understand and to apply, right? You know how to apply that knowledge as well. So actually, as it said earlier, that the purpose was to cleanse the mirror. And then when you cleanse the mirror, what happens? You're able to see, right? So the seeing progress process is very nicely described in the Nectar of Instruction in the 8th verse. In the purport, Prabhupada says, in the neophyte stage, one should always engage in hearing Krishna Katha. This is called Shravanadasa. So, listening and hearing the holy name, that starts everything off. The stage of hearing. By constantly hearing the transcendental holy name of Krishna and hearing of his transcendental form, qualities, and pastimes, one then attains the stage of acceptance called Varnadasha. So this is step number 2. It becomes a Varna. When one attains this stage, he becomes attached to the hearing of Krishna Katha. When one is able to chant in ecstasy now, he attains the stage of Smarana. Now you have Smarana. You're dancing in ecstasy, you are singing in ecstasy, chanting in ecstasy. The stage of remembering. Recollection, absorption, meditation, constant remembrance, and trance are the 5 items of progressive Krishna Smarana. So now that comes to the 5th stage. At first, the remembrance of Krishna may be interrupted at intervals, but later, remembrance proceeds uninterrupted. When remembrance is uninterrupted, it becomes concentrated and is called meditation. Step 6. When meditation expands and becomes constant, it is called anusmriti. That is the 7th phase. By uninterrupted and unceasing anusmriti, one enters the stage of samadhi. Or spiritual trance. After smaranadasha or samadhi is fully developed, the soul comes to understand its original constitutional position. Now you can see itself in the mirror. That stage is called sampati. So coming to sampati dasha is actually the purpose of So when we are actually doing Sankirtan, try to be very personal. Try to see the Lord and see the Lord as a person rather than just as deity on the altar. You can see Caitanya as, say, the father of this community, Radharani as the mother, Jagannath as the best friend, Lord Balaram as the best friend's elder brother, and the middle sister, who is Yogamaya, is the sister of our best friend, like that. You can see Lord Nityananda as the master, Lord Chaitanya as the Lord. So different ways you can see different people in some type of relationship. See them in some form of relationship. Because when you see them in some form of relationship, now they become real. Instead of just being there and we're chanting mechanically. Don't chant mechanically. Chant with feeling in the heart, love in the heart. Love develops when there's relationship, right? If you have a friend, you can love the friend. If you don't know the person, how can you love the person? If you don't have a relationship, you can't love the person. Love always starts with relationship. Always starts with relationship. And then the process of loving and then love. This is the process. So same with the holy name. We see the holy name as what? The holy name is our best friend, right? As our best well-wisher, whatever. We see Harinam Prabhu like that. And we see his consort, who is Vidyadhadu. Vidyadhadu and Harinam are the two who come together just like Radha and our Sati. So when we see that, now our education is happening. This is education. Then the fifth is the chanting of the holy name of Krishna expands the blissful ocean of transcendental life. So what does transcendental mean? Transcendental means that which transcends material life. Material life will always trap us in two things: misery and instability. That is what material life will do to us. Those are the two big rewards. Those are the two big trophies you're going to get with material life. If you're successful in material life, you will get misery and you will get instability. Why? That's stupidity, right? That's unintelligence. Instead, what do we want? We want Krishna Prema. We want to love the deities and the devotees. We want to have a nice relationship with all the deities and devotees. So transcendental life is the only solution to material life. If you transcend material life and get into the phase of always remembering Krishna and never forgetting Krishna, that's transcendental. So in your life, always think you're with Krishna, never separated from Krishna, always doing whatever you're doing for Krishna. Remember I spoke at the beginning that we are the sense of Krishna. Just like this little finger is a sense of me, right? So if I want to enjoy rasgulla, what does the little finger do? It'll help pick up that rasgulla and put it in my mouth so I can enjoy it. It doesn't think, oh, I got the rasgulla first, I'm going to enjoy 50% of it, maybe give me the other 50%. And then all the other senses fight and say, no, but I want some too, and then in the end, nothing gets in the mouth. Everything got taken out by the others. Now, when they got the rasgulla, what happened? Did they enjoy the rasgulla? No. Everybody lost, right? That's material. So our purpose is, how do we give that enjoyment to Krishna? So whatever you're doing, think that you are a sense of Krishna, and the enjoyment is for Krishna, and you are simply giving Krishna that enjoyment. This is why Prabhupada said, the sense of taste is the most powerful. Why? Because it is by the tongue that we will get to see Krishna. Right? Ataha Sri Krishna namati navahe vedi seven mukhi jivado Krishna is enjoying? That's fine. Please enjoy the prasada. But understand, who is really enjoying is Krishna. You are not the enjoyer. Krishna is the enjoyer. Bhaktaram Jagatasa. Krishna is the enjoyer. We are the sense that is meant to give Krishna. Everything you do, when you're sleeping, lying down, you're resting. Understand, Krishna is getting some rest. Krishna is getting some nice rest. And I'm resting on behalf of Krishna. I'm doing it on behalf of Krishna. Then your rest will be proper rest instead of wasting too much time sleeping or not sleeping enough. Wasting too much time eating or not eating enough. Wasting too much time doing anything too much and not doing enough. Right? We want to avoid all this. We want to align with Krishna. We understand we're all part and parcel of Krishna, and therefore, as part and parcel of Krishna, our only business is to satisfy the senses of Krishna. That is why it's called Rishikesha. Rishikesha, Rishikesha. It is the senses of Krishna we need to satisfy. So transcendental life means now understanding I am a sense of Krishna, just like, for example, this phone is a sense of me. If it doesn't connect with me, it is of no point. What to speak of the body? We're even more connected, right? And Krishna is saying, Mame Vangsha Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. He's saying we're eternally part and parcel of him. So this is a very important point. This flame is very important. Transcendental life is what solves the dream. Number 6, it gives a cooling effect to everyone. So what is an effect? An effect is the resource. And something is the resource, right? So in life, 2 things are very important. Being resourceful and having resources. What gives us resourcefulness? What gives us resources? Sankirtan. So when you do Sankirtan, you will have resourcefulness. What is resourcefulness? Resourcefulness means no matter what the situation is, good, bad, or ugly, all of them can be turned into Krishna's benefit. Many times I say that any pain you're suffering is your pot of gold. You can turn pain into pot of gold. Do you know there are people in this world who make tons of money from their pain? What do? They suffered some pain, they learned how to get out of it, and what they do is they start a Facebook page and start telling people how to get out of that pain. So they suffered it, right? So they know how they got out of it, they start telling them. And then, after a few months, they start selling. If you want to go deeper, because they learn other things from other people, they can also teach. If you want to go deeper into this, I'll give you $5 a month. So you know, on Facebook, people have 5,000 followers, 10,000. So if 5,000 people give them $5 each, how much do they have every month? $35,000. And here we are struggling like donkeys, working for the people and getting paid much less, right? There was a nice Christian girl, very nice Christian girl, very nice Christian family she was part of. 13 years of age, she had a baby. She gave birth to a child. The boy, as soon as he found out she was pregnant, he took off from town. No parties. No rooms. So the parents were very nice Christians. Said, it's okay, we'll look after the baby. We keep him in school. Lo and behold, next day she had another baby. Again, the boy took off. Long story short, when she was 20 years old, she had 6 babies. So one day the father sat her down and said, okay, enough is enough. I think you're not learning anything here. So I rented that house, 3 houses from you. I paid the rent for 3 months. And here's $30,000 I'm giving you. You think the baby's going to stay there now? And after 3 months, don't come back to me and ask for money. She said, oh, now what? Not earning any money. 3 months worth of food is there. And then he's run out, right? He started frantically looking around. She found out this one person was teaching this type of thing. Become a coach, make your pain into your pot of gold, turn your mess into a message. Right? She thought, that's not right. I have a lot of pain. All the 6 boys ran away. You know? I don't want to talk to me either, don't want to deal with the babies either. I mean, with me looking after the babies. They love the babies, they want the babies, but they didn't want her. Depend on them, you know. So she started a Facebook page, giving free advice to girls so that they don't get into that kind of bad situation. Funny enough, more than the girls, the parents jump into the program because they have girls and they want to stop their girls from having the same problem. So the parents got it. She realized, oh, the parents got it. Parents have money, right? So she started a second program and said, those of you paying $10 a month, I will give you more information how to avoid this. Then she went on Google and would study on Google, how do you avoid this type of problem? And Google has the answer to most things, right? And now AI has the answer to everything pretty much. Of course, you have to worry about what do they call it? The slob or something. The things that it says wrong would be nice to work with time, I guess. I think slob. Avoid the slob, right? Apart from that, that's pretty good. So she started doing that and she said, give me $10 a month. The very first month, she earned $20,000. Very first month. Next month, she earned more, much more. At the end of the first year, she earned $1 million. Totally the whole year. The next day, she made $6 million. She gave both parents $1 million each. And then she made sure she put $1 million in all the accounts of the children that she could make the money. Last year, when I met her in person, she was making $40 million. She turned the pain into pot of gold. Pot of gold, right? Indians love to carry gold, right? People have gold in their houses. Don't please put your house gold in your houses. Put it in the bank or somewhere else. No, it's not that either. But even 1 coin of gold is pretty expensive now. It's more than $4,000 an ounce, right? Pot of gold? That's it. So, this gives the effect. These are the intelligence, how to deal with this in a transcendental way, so that you can look after your life, keep your body and soul together, and then promote Krishna consciousness together. That's the sixth benefit of the Holy Name. Finally, the seventh enables one to taste full nectar at every step. Full nectar. Why? Because only one thing satisfies everybody, and that is suprasita. Complete satisfaction. Complete satisfaction only happens when we engage in the loving devotional service of Krishna without cessation, right? Uninterrupted and without apatita and ahimsa. Then we have the full taste. At every step, we will feel happy in our Krishna consciousness. This is why when Srila Prabhupada met anybody, he would ask one question to the devotees when he met them. Are you happy? If the devotee would say, I'm not happy, Prabhupada said, that means you're not Krishna conscious. If you're Krishna conscious, you're happy. Why are you happy? Because you're tasting nectar at every step. Why are you tasting nectar at every step? Because you're always connected to Krishna. You never see yourself anytime disconnected. Even if those of us who go to work are working for the boss. Nobody likes the boss, right? People go to work where they need some money. They really don't like the job either. They say they love the job, just so that they can stay with it. Because the boss might give them some, you know, what do you call it? What is the word? Huh? A raise, yeah. There's another word for it. Give you advanced promotion. Promotion, thank you. Give you promotion. Yeah. But other than that, nobody likes to work. So Prabhupada said, when he was on this planet, that he wanted all devotees to run their own business and not to work for it. He said it very clearly. He said, you work for Shudra, you become a Shudra. But we have no choice. Because in America, to get a visa, you have to work. But once you get your green card, once you get your citizenship, please start your own business. The average American businessman earns 500 times the average employee. 500 times. If you can double your income, that's pretty good, right? So, to speak of multiplying it 500 times. That's crazy rich, right? But this is the process, chanting the holy names of Krishna, doing Sankirtan. Sankirtan's essence is teaching others about Krishna, because the teacher is the best student. When we teach others about Krishna consciousness, we automatically become good ourselves. Because you hear yourself saying, chant Hare Krishna. Then you say to yourself, I better chant myself. I'm telling others to chant. I better chant myself. Follow the regulated principles. Okay, I better follow the regulated principles myself. Always remember Krishna. Okay, I better always remember Krishna myself. They say that when you give class, the person who gives the class gets 20 times the benefit of everybody in the class. Why? Because the person hears themselves, they're preaching to themselves, and they say, please, learn this, understand this, live your life like that, and then you will be truly happy. Why? Because Krishna will become happy. When he becomes happy, naturally, if I become happy, my little finger becomes happy too, right? If I taste the rasgulla and I say, wow, that was nice rasgulla, then my finger also feels, oh, that was nice rasgulla. My toe also feels it. My toe didn't touch the rasgulla, right? But it still enjoys. Why? Because it is part of me. We are part of Krishna. This is the point of Sankirtan, that we are part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is our eternal Father. Those of us who have parents know that many times the parents have done things for us that we are always indebted for. We're eternally indebted for, right? Parents are always doing so many things like that for us. So Krishna is the perfect parent, perfect father. He's also our perfect best friend. Suridam sarvabhutanam, he says. Our best friend. Right? And then he gives us everything that is his, he gives to us by saying, Mame vangsha jiva loka. You become part of my estate. My estate belongs to you. Everything in creation belongs to each and every one of us here. Not only to each and every one of us here, even to the bug on that floor that we can't see. That bug also owns the total creation. Because that bug is a child of Krishna, is most beloved to Krishna, and is part and parcel of Krishna's complete system. Krishna is the complete. So whenever we want complete, the only way complete happens is if you have Krishna. If you don't have Krishna, there is no complete. So this festival of Kirtan 50 is like an amazing festival. And the only thing is that every year we have this festival, a lot of people fall sick. Because it happens to be in winter, gets very cold, and of course at one time we were asked to wear masks, but there are great sages in this world, and some of them are like Chinese sages, are very smart. They're very, very good. They said it's more important to wear a hat than to wear a mask. Because if a disease goes through your system through the nose, it's easy to get out of it. But if it comes through your chakra, it's not easy to get it out. So they said that if everybody had worn a hat instead of wearing the mask, much fewer people would have died. So since I heard that, I always carry a hat with me. I always wear a hat. It's not because I'm bald. I'm bald, you can see that. I'm bald. I'm not worried about being bald. Bald is good. It's fine, there's no problem. But to protect myself from getting the flu, this is my anti-flu. And you notice, in every culture, they always have something on the head, right? Amongst the Hindus, they also wear turban, correct? The Jews wear that little hat right over the chakra. Just over the chakra. You notice, you think, why are they wearing that little cap right over here only? And how does it sit there? It must fall off every so often. But they wear it right over this, right? Chinese do the same thing. The Arabs do the same thing. The Africans do the same thing. Everybody has headgear. Why? Because in the Vedas it is said the most important part is actually this chakra. The crown chakra is where the soul will go from to meet God. That's the crown chakra. A sage is able to control their death by bringing the soul out of this chakra here.
not from the mouth or from the other parts of the body. So that's why we wear the hat. And people notice I do that in summer as well, and they think, wow, how can you wear a hat? So I get a cotton one in summer. It's a little better in summer. But it works. It's actually very good. Hare Krishna. I'm going to stop here and ask if any of you'd like to say something, ask any questions. Yes, sir. What is your good name, Prabhuji? Jagadish Prabhu. Nice. So, do we have a second mic that we can use? Because I'd like others to hear what Jagadish Prabhu has to say. See if it's working. Is it working? You have to make sure it's working. No, probably not. Okay, I'm going to repeat your question because apparently, until we get the mic, go ahead.
So in relation to what you were talking about, the mind, I've heard it said that the mind is indeed in the heart. The mind is a part of the heart. But my whole life I've been thinking mind and the brain. The mind is in the brain.
Right.
And I heard this saying that said the most difficult journey is to go from the head to the heart, from the mind to the heart. And so,
yes.
how would you relate this?
How do you reconcile that? Yeah, very good. So Jagadish Prabhu is asking, says, I've heard that the mind is seated in the heart. And then, but we notice in our lives that a lot of times our head is where really the mind is, and then there's a disconnect with the heart. It's meant to be connected to the heart. So how do you reconcile the fact that the mind is seated in the heart and yet it's also in the head, and then there is a difference between what's happening in the mind and the head and the heart, right? Am I right? Is that what you said? Yes. So basically, the mind is also sometimes referred to as the Atma. This word Atma has three meanings. It can be the mind, it might be the body, or it might be the soul. It could be any one of these three. The body, because the heart is seated inside the body, right? So there is this philosophy of non-difference. If you're speaking about a person, you're speaking about every part of them, right? So there's non-difference between the parts, you know? It'd be hard for me to say, or for you to say to me, I love your nose, but I hate your ears. Because they're part of the same body. You get the idea? So in that sense, yes, it is true that the mind is seated in the heart as well. Everything's seated in the heart. Actually, it is described that education is the art of expanding the heart until the whole creation, including the spiritual world, sits in your heart. I mean, that's amazing, right? That your heart can become the seating place of the total creation. That would be a big heart, right? That's a huge heart. All creation sitting in there. So obviously everything then becomes part of the heart in that way. So it is true that the mind is seated in the heart, but it is only seated in the heart when it is aligning with the heart. When it is not aligning with the heart, it moves to the brain, moves up here. Sort of slowly creeps out of there and moves and sits here and thinks, I'm the boss. The heart's not the boss. I'm the ruler. I'm the king. Everybody should listen to me. You see what I'm saying? That is why we say, don't let your mind play games with you. Don't let your mind mess your life up. Right? Because that's what the mind can do. Why can the mind do that? Because the mind is in the mode of goodness. The mode of goodness is the most powerful mode between the three modes of ignorance, passion, and goodness. Goodness is the most powerful, right? And the mind is made in the mode of goodness. So obviously it's going to be very powerful. In fact, it is so powerful that we've been existing in this world for billions of lifetimes, right? Those of us who are here in Kali Yuga, that means we've been here since the beginning of this manifestation, right? And every manifestation is a breathing out of Vishnu, which lasts for 311 trillion years. And he just celebrated his 50th birthday. So that means 155 trillion years have gone by. And we've been around for this whole breath. And Lord Chaitanya has come, this is the 15,001st visit of Lord Chaitanya. He came 15,000 times before this. We didn't go back to Godhead. What does that tell us? We became devotees, but we didn't go back to Godhead. Why? Because the mind tripped us up. How does the mind trip us up? The number one way it trips us up is by offending devotees. You cannot go back to Godhead no matter how advanced you are. You could be the top guru on the planet. You could be the most advanced devotee on the planet. If you offend a devotee, game over. Can't go back to Godhead. Mahadevi will not allow it to happen. There's no way you can go through the 13 layers, that cover this universe. And ours is the smallest universe. The first layer itself of Earth is 4 billion miles across. The next water is 10 times more than that. The next fire is 10 times more than that. The next air is 10 times more than the fire. It becomes so big that it becomes nine nantillion. Nantillion is the ninth order. Like you go billion, trillion, quadrillion, like that. So nantillion is the ninth order. 9 nantillion miles across is our universe. How are you going to get all that to go to the spiritual world? Not going to happen. All because of one thing: offense to the devotee. Always protect yourself from offense to the devotee. And to do that, we have to calm the mind down and say to the mind, stop playing these games. You're part and parcel of Krishna. You should be satisfying Krishna, not yourself. Why are you satisfying yourself? You're never satisfied, are you? Really? Talk to the mind and say to the mind, are you ever satisfied? Are you really ever satisfied? Do you ever feel, okay, I'm done now, I think I'm going to chill? No, the mind never chills, right? Even the night, it dreams. It doesn't chill. It's still moving around, right? So, the heart, because the Lord is sitting there, is very powerful. The heart can tell the mind, behave. Because the heart is transcendental. The heart transcends. The mind cannot transcend unless it comes and sits in the heart again. Then it can transcend. And when the mind comes and sits in the heart, it feels like I'm Vrindavan now. Now this is the place where the Lord is going to perform his pastimes. And the mind allows many wonderful things to happen in the pastimes with Krishna, like that. So how do we reconcile the mind and the heart? We reconcile by the process of Sankirtan. And the very best way in Sankirtan is preaching. Because when you go out in the streets and you distribute books and you tell them about Krishna, then Krishna bestows the mercy. Because without Krishna's mercy, nothing is possible. Even a blade of grass doesn't move without Krishna's will. How our Krishna consciousness will happen without Krishna's will? And Krishna's mercy, he says, is best given when we preach this science to others. He says that in Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, right? Text 69. That one who preaches this science is most dear to me, and there never will be anybody more dear than he. Right? So the service that you're doing is the best service. Just keep doing that service and tell the mind, now you are Krishna's servant, please Krishna. Don't worry about pleasing me or yourself, because you are not the mind, right? Just like I'm not this phone. So similarly, I'm not my mind either. Mind is material. So we tell the mind, please, always serve Krishna. Don't worry about me. I'll be okay. But serve Krishna. And then we keep doing Krishna's service, and then Krishna, because he has the power, right? He can tell the mind, okay, now settle down. The mind settles down, because when Krishna touches the mind, game over for the mind. The mind falls in love with Krishna. Krishna is so beautiful. He's such a nice person. Anybody who sees him, touches him anyway, will completely fall in love with him. They have no choice. How many stories we hear? People totally opposed Krishna, and when they met Krishna, suddenly it was like, whoa. They were like stubbed. The stub means they can't speak anymore, right? They became speechless. He's so beautiful, such a nice person, like that. So that's how we reconcile the two. Does that make sense? Thank you. Hare Krishna. Anybody else have any points? Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, you were talking about Vidya Vadu Jivanam.
Vidya Vadu Jivanam, yes.
This education is like of material quality, spiritual quality.
Right.
So spiritual education you can understand you is men getting sincere, we are spreading spiritual education. How does material education follow?
Material education should be used for spiritual education. If you use the material education for spiritual education, then it also becomes touched. Just like when you put iron into fire, it also gets the quality of fire, right? So similarly, anything material can be engaged in Krishna's service and become Krishna conscious. So if this phone is only being used for Krishna's service, then this phone is Krishna conscious. Otherwise, this phone is materially conscious. You get the idea? So in the same way, the idea is to use everything in Krishna's service. So you got very nice education, you got PhD, now use it in Krishna's service. Right? Then your material education is no longer material education. It became spiritualized. That's the confirmation, by the way. The ding is the confirmation. That's how confirmations come. Does that make sense? Yeah. So whatever we're doing is fine. Krishna is okay. You want to play sports, you want to do this, do that, it's all fine. But do it for Krishna's pleasure. And then slowly Krishna will let you know what really pleases him. And then you stop the nonsense things that you're doing that didn't please Krishna and start doing the things that actually please Krishna. But in the meantime, those same nonsense things can be used in Krishna's service, and Krishna is happy with that. There are many nice stories. Somebody did something real nonsense, and Krishna blessed the person. Why? Because that person was doing it for Krishna's pleasure, even though it was nonsense. Krishna knew that this person's heart is in the right place. They're doing it for my pleasure. So Krishna is okay, I bless you. And then when they get closer, Krishna explains to them, don't do it this way. Do this. This will please me even more. And then the person gives up the other one, takes to this one. Right? So whatever we're doing, whatever position we're in, is okay. We don't have to be in an advanced position. We could be in the least advanced position. But everything we do, every breath that we breathe, should be to please Krishna only. Whether we breathing out, breathing in, holding the breath in, holding the breath out, or merging the two breaths. These are the 5 types of breaths. Everything should be done for only one purpose, that is to please Krishna. That is what it means to be Sankirtan. Then you're in Sankirtan, because you're doing everything for Krishna's pleasure. In our body, there are many cells, right? Each of those cells has a soul and a super soul. So you're already doing Sankirtan with yourself, right? Tell all the cells in your body, when I'm chanting, you all chant too. All chant together. So you're chanting, and they're also chanting. And sooner or later, you'll be able to hear it. Prabhupada was so good at this, there was a time when, after a big program, he was sitting and explaining to his disciples how to take care of bookkeeping, how to take care of the books nicely. So a very old gentleman came and joined the group, and he went over to Prabhupada and he said, why are you talking about money? You're a sadhu, you should be talking about spiritual life. So he said, don't worry, just come and sit behind me and put your head against my back. So the old man went and put his head behind the back like this, and Prabhupada kept speaking about money, how to look after money. When you accept money, you should make nice note of it, don't spend it unless you have to, this, that, and the other, how to do the accounting properly. Right? Suddenly the guy got up, ran to the front of Prabhupada, full obeisance, and then ran away. And he goes, what happened? Why did he do that? So when Prabhupada finished and prasadam time came, they went in the crowd looking for him. It was a big Maidan, more than 20,000 people in a big opening in Mumbai. Okay? So they went looking and they found him. And I said, so what happened? You got up and you ran. He said, yeah, funny. He said, I put my head to his back, and all I could hear was, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. That's all I could hear. Couldn't hear anything else. He was speaking so many things, but all he could hear was Hare Krishna. Why? The cells were chanting Hare Krishna. The cells were chanting Hare Krishna. That's Prabhupada. First get yourself right before you try to get anybody else right. Can we please come right ourselves? If you're not okay, how are you going to help anybody else become okay, right? If you're not rich, how are you going to give any money to anybody else? First become fully Krishna conscious, right? And yes, we can preach in the meantime also, but as you preach, you'll preach to yourself too, right? And you're preaching to yourselves, telling yourselves, yeah, these are important things, right? You all should be listening. And then doing, Thank you, Prabhuji. It's 9 o'clock. Prabhuji is giving me an indication. It's prasadam time. But does that make sense? Good. All right, well, we ran out of time. I'm sorry. Thank you all very much. Vanchakalpa, Dhruvischa, Kripasindhu Patitanam Pavanebhya, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Brinda Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Gaur Bhakta Brinda Ki Jai. Kirtan 50 Festival Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.